so excited.
It's time for Two Guys and a Goalie with Dustin Nielsen, Matt Kassian, and the goalie, Joaquin Gage.
Another edition of Two Mats and a Goalie here on Two Guys and a Goalie, presented by GS Construction, setting the industry standard for 50 years with quality, efficiency, and safety. Driving their success, GS Construction has a foundation built on teamwork, and now they want you to become a part of the team. Visit gsconstruction.ca, click Ready to Work, or visit their page on Indeed.ca. With the Next Person Up program at GS Construction, it's not just a job, it is a career. We're live on EdmontonSportsTalk.com, on TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and on YouTube. Matthew Iwanyk, Walking Gage in studio. Matt Kassian at, I think, his home office there. Boys, how are you doing today? Cass, I've seen Gage for already 2 hours, 3 hours or whatever. How are you doing?
Oh, how are you not sick of them? I'm sick of them, and it's been like 10 seconds. Sorry, Gage, that's not true.
Yeah, it is. Whatever.
No,
I'll be over later.
No, it's not. I love you.
He still hasn't brought the smoked old fashions in.
Oh, God, I forgot again. Maybe it's...
yeah.
Yeah, okay, I'll get on.
Oh, what's going to happen?
We need to do...
all of us
we
in
need to
studio
schedule
for
like
that.
all of us in studio, or just like a barbecue, like just to have a smoke out night, and that would be fun. I would enjoy that tremendously. But we're good. We're hanging in there. Happy with the big Oilers win, guys. That was well done. I don't know if you heard my tirade. I know I texted it that I was going to have a tirade in the group chat before the game against Dallas was over, but I went off on Jake Ottinger and how horrible he was, and how it's all his fault that the Dallas Stars lost. And I think I was absolutely correct. So I'm in a good mood, guys. I'm good.
Well, I think everyone should be in a good mood in this city right now. Just with and it didn't look that way. Like through the first few minutes of that game, it looked like, oh boy, here we go. The Oilers, there's no push, there's no fight, there's no nothing. A couple of goals go in, the first shot of the game goes in. And then something changed in the Edmonton Oilers where they dominated the rest of that hockey game. But were you guys at all surprised at all, or does it even matter with the start of that game that the Oilers had?
I was surprised at the pushback so early. I thought it was... I thought it would come in the second period where the Oilers would get back into it.
Oh, like, so how quickly they turned it
yeah, and I think that boded well to get back on equal footing before the start of the second. And what really piqued my interest was, okay, well now, they had the good stuff. And when you go into the dressing room, Cass, the ones behind us were even. We got 2 periods of hockey to play. You move forward from there. And, I mean, Pete DeBoer kind of mentioned it in his post-game interview, is they were, after that start, they were the better team. And how it's funny how this whole series is, it's like looking in a mirror at certain points. Like you could look at Game 3, how the Oilers had that start, and it was kind of the same thing with the Stars. I mean, they had a chance to go up 3-0 with the Rupe Hintz breakaway. Connor McDavid having that, and Darnell Nurse having good chances to go up to make it 3-0, and it just doesn't happen. The other team gets momentum back, and it just doesn't change. But it was. There's so many different things in that game that happened. Like I said in the hangout today, it was an unbelievable game from the Oilers. Good response by a lot of players, new guys coming in. Darnell Nurse situation, Stuart Skinner. I think that's a huge victory for him. But overall, really good game for the Edmonton Oilers.
It could take us probably an hour to just go through the first period of that. It was like there was so much that just happened in that first period. Cass, what did you see from the Oilers in that response from them, and what did you see also in that first few minutes? Is that anything for cause of concern, or is it just more look at the response that they had in it?
I'm thrilled with their response to that. The not after the first goal, but after the second goal went in, and knowing it was a tough bounce. Like, it was a tough bounce, but it went in off Darnell Nurse, and especially after like that the presser from the morning, I was just like, oh no, like this is gonna be bad for the Oilers. Like, this game is done, they are finished, and they dramatically proved my emotions and my thoughts wrong in a timely fashion. I thought they were going to be done, knowing that the second goal was a bad bounce, but and you mentioned it already, Maddie, like, and Gager, what a bizarre twist where it's just like the game before, it's almost like the opposite, where it's like Dallas was winning, had the great chances, could have been up maybe one or two more, and then all of a sudden Edmonton turns it on and gets back in it, and then outplays the Dallas Stars the rest of the game. So yeah, it was a little bizarre, a little emotional, but I love the response of all the guys that stepped back into the lineup, and some of the guys that had been challenged, whether that's internally, some just by the media, like Darnell Nurse, where that was his best game of the playoffs by far and away, his best game of the playoffs. He responded really well, so I'm happy with that. Corey Perry coming back in, I thought he had a strong game. Ryan McLeod had his best game of the playoffs coming back in. Broberg was neither here nor there, but at least he wasn't bad. So he comes in and is just all right out there. And so it's just a good response in a series that has just been absolutely chock full of twists and turns.
I was saying on the hangout today, Cass, that Darnell Nurse, it was the equivalent of the movie Waterboy, when he would go up to Rupe. There was that little exchange with Rupe Hintz after the whistle, and he's seeing like Mark Spector's face, Gatorade, or he's seeing all the writers or fan, But it was, I mean, that's essentially, I think he saw a lot of probably media in the faces of a lot of the Dallas Stars with the way he was so aggressive and stuff. I'm kidding, of course, but a little bit more of a motivation. You saw finally the sandpaper, making it difficult to play against with Darnell Nurse, which I thought was unbelievable. He integral part of the goal, driving the net. Man, it was great to see Darnell Nurse step his game up after all this turmoil throughout the whole playoffs. That's what you're going to need, and even more moving forward from him. But great, like you said, great response by the guys going into the lineup, and not only like playing well, but being, a difference makers, getting the call and being a difference maker. You don't see that all the time. There's always little subtle shifts with personnel, but it amazes me how Knoblauch and the decisions he's making of the people that are going in and the impact they're having in the games. I don't think we've seen that at all over the last few years with different coaches.
Yeah, not with the Edmonton Oilers, and it's like he's just got the perfect gauge of the series, but also his own players, both when to take them out, get them back in, where to put them back in that lineup. To me, like that Draisaitl line, was that the best line the Oilers had yesterday going? Like they seem to be excellent with Perry and McLeod. It seemed like Draisaitl almost slows the game down slightly to keep Perry involved in it and stuff, because I think Draisaitl has a little bit more speed on him, but as he's coming across, like it just feels like he's doing it at a little bit of a slower pace to just make it more equal for his line mates, and it was paying off. Was that right?
I felt he was playing at a higher pace at certain points.
Okay,
but I think he was leading by example on that line, and of course you're going to get a little bit of extra juice, I think, by two guys that had been out of the lineup. So I think that boded well. But Draisaitl was a different beast from game 3 to game 4. He was arguably the best player on the Edmonton Oilers lineup, I felt, last night.
Yeah, you could argue that. I didn't like heading into the game. I didn't like all the changes that Knoblauch made. I didn't. And after the first 2 goals, I was like, oh boy, like this is going to be, he gambled and it didn't pay off. Do you guys think that this is like him being a rookie coach in the NHL, just maybe not feeling the pressure, or maybe just being like, to heck with it. Like, I'm just going to do what I feel is best. Like, and consequences be darned. Like, I'm going to do what I think is going to work. And if it works, that's fantastic. I thought it was, but if it doesn't, at least I tried something. Like, do you think that's his mentality?
It might be his mentality. I don't know if it has to do much being a rookie, because I feel like more rookies or younger coaches, or newer coaches in the game, at the NHL level would be more scared to do that. Because look, Jay Woodcroft wasn't an NHL head coach for long when he wasn't making
on the bench, though.
On the bench, well, Chris Knoblauch's got experience on benches. Maybe not at the NHL level.
But yeah.
So maybe that's where it comes from. But Knoblauch was scared, or not Knoblauch. Woodcroft was scared to make lineup. Oh, did we lose Cass? We lost Cass there. Zach, I think you're gonna have to come here and. Oh, maybe he's back. No, he's back. Never mind. We're good. Cass is back there. Woodcroft was scared to make those. He was scared to make a change at goal. He was scared, it seemed at the very least, to do those. And Knoblauch isn't. And to me, when it comes to at least NHL coaching experience or head coaching experience, they're very, they're both fresh. So I don't know if it's because of the rookiness. Maybe it's just because it's like look at him behind the podium, Chris Knoblauch. Nothing phases him. Like, he's just the same. Whether they win or lose or whatever, he's the exact same. So maybe in his decision process that it's easier for him to get there, as opposed to because he feels confident in whatever he's doing. I don't know.
Well, if memory serves me correctly, when he first took over and they asked Connor about him, right? And the first thing Connor said was, "Well, he's quite mellow or calm, and you guys will see that over the next little while talking to him, how calm he is, right? And there's not a lot of cloak and dagger. He's pretty straightforward with anything. The first time we saw him kind of, I guess, try to influence the game a little bit was the talk about the refereeing. That's the first time we've actually seen him.
I loved it.
Kind of do something like that to an extent, and it was done in
is muted. Like, it was a
It was the Chris Knoblauch way of doing it.
It was very like.
It was polite.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is
the
that
most
the right
polite way to be like, the refs need to be better in this series.
I've never seen a head coach in the NHL be so polite towards officiating that he didn't agree with. So, and you get more bees with honey, I guess. But that bodes well for your team. Like, Cassie, I know you've had tyrants on the bench that go nuts, and that bleeds into your lineup. If your coach is yelling at the ref the whole game, the players are going to act the same way. So, I mean,
Jason Moss, Jason Moss with the Edmonton Elks a couple years ago.
Yeah. There's little subtleties that, and I mean, on the other side, I think you can, if you see Chris Knoblauch get mad and go off, that could have a huge effect, because that's something you just don't see very often.
It's like that person that never swears.
Yeah.
And the moment they drop the F-bomb, everyone stops.
Are we talking about Cass still?
And if we ever see Chris Knoblauch lose it on a bench, I think everyone's going to stop and be like, okay, somebody did something really wrong. Like, the refs really screwed up here or something, because Chris Knoblauch's losing it. Cass, I'll throw your question back to you then. Do you think that do you see that him being a rookie coach is the reason he's feeling a little more free and not feeling the pressure and making these changes?
I think maybe. I think he's just legitimately trying to do what's best for the group and trying to say, well, and even going off some of the past instances. So if you look at like Ryan McLeod, when he got sat in the regular season, he rejuvenated himself coming back into the lineup. Does again yesterday. Corey Perry, you're maybe looking at this as a veteran guy. You know what you're going to get, and so you're going to say, okay, we know he's going to get back to that simple game. Maybe help us out. We put him with Draisaitl, both those guys, and just give them the freedom to be like, we're not coming back into the lineup with we're being set up for success versus being set up to fail in this situation. And we're going to be given an opportunity. Like, he probably sat them down on the way out, said, you know what, maybe this hasn't been good enough. Maybe this hasn't been good enough. So we're going to have some other guys in there, but be ready, because when you're back in, we're going to really need you, and you're an important part of this team. And sometimes, and I've got that from coaches where it's been absolute lip service, where it's just, they're just trying to say whatever they can to keep you placated and say whatever they can so that they don't have to have a hard conversation with you. And there's a lot of coaches that do that, where it's just like they try to tell you what they think you want to hear so that you just kind of stay happy. versus having hard conversations. But the flip side is, if you're having those hard conversations and saying, and meaning you're an important part of this team, you actually have to stand behind what you're doing. And, him putting those two guys into the lineup and putting them into the lineup where he did is communicating that. So, yeah, I mean, there's been some gutsy moves by him, certainly. And it's worked out so far.
Yeah. When do you see that in other instances, especially this time of year where you have two guys that are sitting out, and then you guys are back in, and oh, by the way, you're going to be, you're going to be playing with Leon down the middle. Like, that's got to be just that alone gives you so much more confidence from, oh my gosh, my coach knows I'm capable of something, and it happened. That's you never see that. I'd like to look back to see where a coach took two guys out of the line and put them with one of their best players on the team. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well,
great job.
Coming from a scratch to being on the second line. Like maybe one guy every once in a while.
One guy. Yeah.
Yeah, but for both guys, pretty rare.
Yeah.
In the game last night, so, Corey Perry and Ryan McLeod go, and then they got that little extra juice because they were sitting out and they're back in the lineup. Darnell Nurse, everything around him we know, in the media press conference prior to the game. How do you replicate that going into Game 5 if you're those three players? How do you replicate making sure that that's the type of player going? Because, people with Darnell Nurse right now in the nasty chatter and Paris Jewelers inbox, they're saying, where has this Nurse been all year? Like how for those, how do you make sure that you continue that play going into Game 5? Because, well, if you're McLeod and Perry, you can't just replicate necessarily, or just, hey, you were in last game. It's not like you've been pulled and put back in. I don't think Nurse could just go and have a media veil like he did again yesterday. How do you go about doing that, Cass?
I think you need to give Mark Spector unfiltered access to the dressing room. Just have him in there the whole time.
Yeah,
just sitting
like a TV crew, like a live TV crew with Mark Spector and a camera. More like what's the Jim Carrey movie?
Sherman Show.
Sherman Show with him. Just
have him in there. No, realistically, I mean, it's. You gotta. I think some of that is going to carry over, and I think for Darnell Nurse, some of that is going to carry over. I think because it's like, you had one game, but you're still like and I felt this from media before, where it's like you feel like you have been judged unjustly, your teammates feel like you have been judged unjustly, and it's like, and it lights a fire, and that's not a fire that's going to go away soon. I mean, it gives you a little bit or a big chip on the shoulder to be like, well, screw you guys, I'm going to prove you wrong. And that doesn't go away after one game. It's not like, oh, well, now I got one game, now I proved you wrong. It's like, no, I'm going to continue to try to shove it up yours. There's a lot of guys that the entire reason, or a big part of the reason they're in the NHL, is because someone at some point told them they weren't going to be, and that they needed to do this, this, and this, and that they weren't good enough, or whatever. And they're just like, well, screw you, I'm going to go prove you all wrong. Like, and I've had that before, just in my own career. Yeah, I don't think you necessarily, for Darnell Nurse, I don't think you necessarily have to do that. Now, the question will be, and I'm not worried, Corey Perry, I know he struggled for a bunch of games in the playoffs, but typically we have seen him be pretty consistent. It's not like he's doing things crazily out there, dominating games, but he's going to just make his plays, play hard, annoy the goalie. You kind of just do Corey Perry things. Ryan McLeod is a big question for me. So like, how do you get Ryan McLeod to bring that same level? And I just wonder if him just playing on the wing and taking away some of that center responsibility helps him get there. But I don't know. It's a tough question to say, like, okay, what do you say to that guy? And Gage, or maybe give me what you would say to him. But what would you say to Ryan McLeod to keep him at the level he was last game?
I think I go the route where, like, you praise, I think, like, you not break down, but saying we need even more from you. Like, this is the first step. That's how I'd approach my conversation from Ryan McLeod, to try to get him to, because I think there's another gear there. Like, this is funny because I was thinking about Ryan McLeod, and I've been very hard on him, and I think it's just to an extent, but I'm trying to look at comparable players to his skill set and size and what he's able to accomplish. He should he should be a threat. I think a lot more than what you actually see with the speed. And this is a leap a little bit, but over in Winnipeg, Kyle Connor is kind of the same build, same type of speed through the neutral zone, but Connor has a little bit better shot. We'll talk about summertime. He should be shooting 1,500 pucks a day, but I think he could be a way more of a threat off the rush, because even last night he gets to the blue line and it's almost like maybe it's a confidence thing where he's looking to dish, like he's looking to get rid of the puck and do something else with it. Where I don't understand with that type of speed, why can't he try to go to the net with it every time? He's going to make even from a standstill point, he can make a defenseman turn and battle him physically to the front of the net. I don't really understand it too much, but you need more from him. If you want him, proceed, and especially if you're going to go further than this round to the next, Ryan McLeod's going to have to make his mark in the series.
Where do you think Cass went?
I'm guessing there was a child fussing or needing something.
Did you see a child?
No,
okay.
But I'm sure that's...
Pat Gregoire during Lock Shop, I think he had to go sign for a package.
Oh, did he?
His fiance ordered something, and he had to sign for it. So there's there's pricey, as he was saying. She ordered something a little pricier because he had a sign for it.
Yeah.
Or
maybe he had to go to the bathroom. I don't know.
That's what when you're gone, that's what it is.
Yeah.
When you're here.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Okay. I just looked up and he was gone.
Or maybe he, like Cass mentions, he does say he hates me. And maybe the best way to just not hear me talk was him to just leave the entire room.
What is it? Like maybe he'll talk about, how do you talk to coach these guys? And then he just walked away. Oh, is there a dog there? Maybe the dog was being fussy. So he'll get those. Dog being fussy?
No, there's some family stuff going on, so my dad had to drop something off. So I had to go open the door for him.
Oh, how's he doing? Getting set for another elk season?
Yeah, excited for another elk season. Just at it again. So he's at the field a lot, which is one of his happy places. He's happy out there until they lose, and then he's not as happy. But he gets pretty worked up. But in a good way. He loves the team and loves when they have success, and so it's been a grind the last while for him with it. But he's good, in good shape.
This is Two Guys and a Goalie presented by GS Construction. Momentarily, we have a keyword for the $100,000 hole-in-one contest presented by Golf Town. That'll take place live at the Ranch. We have a great outdoors comedy festival qualifying opportunity as well. Speaking of the Elks, Green and Gold kickoff post-game show starting June 8th. Myself and Jay Milne here at Edmonton Sports Talk. We'll be at Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge just off Fort Road for all the pregame and postgame coverage. And we'll also actually be Century Casino on Monday for a special edition of the Hangout as well. This may be a stupid question, but we talk about the guys going into the lineup. That means some guys came out of the lineup. Lineup's the same for Game 5 tomorrow. Is that how you guys would go about doing it? Or is it's like maybe a Warren Fogle, someone you try to get back into the lineup for that game? Or is that just a stupid question because it's a winning lineup? Why would you mess with it?
Pickard starts.
We actually had that in the nasty chat at one point.
Absolutely. You are 100% correct. They almost lost that game, and they almost lost the pick of Stuart Skinner. So,
and then the rest
Pickard
of the 55 minutes happened.
Campbell backs him up. Yeah.
Oh, Campbell.
Well,
if you want to get bold, let's just start Campbell in Game 5.
Jeez. There you go. Man. I think Desharnais goes back in and Broberg comes out. I mean, Broberg was fine. Vinny Desharnais still your best penalty killing defenseman, but now that you work the pairings around a little bit, and you had some success and you liked what you saw, I think you could slide Desharnais back in there. And if you're protecting him a little bit more, those 5-on-5 minutes, that's fine. And use him more as that PK specialist. I think I would be fine with that. Forward group, I think you're probably keeping the same.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's.
Which part are you thinking about? The Broberg and Desharnais?
Yeah, the different.
Which, by the way, the penalty kill of the
was
Oilers
still
has
awesome.
been just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, we all went into these playoffs talking about how great the power play was supposed to be, and it was at times. They've had their little bit of cold spell, but if this team ultimately gets to a Stanley Cup final, it's largely on the backs of the penalty kill.
It's amazing, and when you hear, and I think it was Tyler Seguin talking about the penalty kill, they're making it so difficult. They're so quick. They're anticipating. They're getting in lanes. They're making it difficult for zone entries. Stars is funny because they don't seem to enter the zone. I mean, we're privy to McDavid getting the puck at full speed, and it's like a no-brainer that he's at least going to enter the zone. But they're even having issues at the blue line, and that's even more impressive from this penalty kill than what we've seen during the regular season. It's one of those extra little things through this series that are making the difference. And it's funny how we're talking about the penalty kill and not the power play. The penalty kill is outperforming. And this is another thing about Coach Knoblauch. He's given like purpose to a lot of other people on the team without the names McDavid, Draisaitl on the backs of their jerseys, right? This is Cass. When you play with a team that you have consistent penalty killers, like that maybe don't get power play 1 or 2 time, they take tons of pride in it. Like this is they're looking at stats. They're looking at the best in the league. I remember for Revelins that Todd Marchant used to always talk about the penalty kill in before games and stuff like that, and looking at stats and how well they were doing. Like it was a source of pride for him. So it's another thing with coaching, I think, that he's been able to implement to just make everyone in that locker room feel part of something.
It's time now to qualify someone for the Swing to Win with EST $100,000 hole-in-one contest presented by Golf Town, live at the Ranch Golf and Country Club, July 3rd, 7 o'clock in the morning, 17th hole, 180 yards out. If you're the qualifier today, you go into a draw tomorrow morning on the morning show. You have a 1 in 4 chance of being named as one of the contestants with a possible chance to swing for $100,000, as I said, presented by Golf Town. Swing big this Father's Day and find dad or yourself the perfect gift at Golf Town. Say big with huge deals on TaylorMade in-store, online, now through June 9th. Their Sim2 drivers, only $330, 25% off their bags. 2 dozen prior gen TP5 golf balls for only $80, plus much, much more this Father's Day. Give the gift of golf. Visit them in-store or at golftown.com for more details. Some exclusions do apply. Golf Town, your ultimate destination for Father's Day. Before I give the keyword here, the people have to text to 780-218-9999. Are you guys like... You guys are both fathers. Do you guys like getting is golf stuff, or is it like, I know you guys are into your smokers, barbecue stuff. Is that the stuff you guys really like want to get for Father's Day? Because that's a couple weekends from now.
I just want I want a mani-pedi.
Oh yeah, I like that. Pedicures are wonderful.
The smoker's great. Yeah, stuff for the smoker's great. Golf stuff is good. Just dad stuff.
Do you guys like getting something specific dad, or golf or like gift cards? Like if you're getting something for your smoker, do you want to go get what you want? So because your kids might not know, or are you good with just whatever?
Well, my kids aren't old enough to have any money yet.
Okay, so your wife.
I mean, they have their little wallets and money, so it's my wife. So she's usually pretty good at sussing out something that works, and she's a good gift giver actually. So she figures it out. She's good.
I've passed a threshold somehow that I actually like socks and underwear. I think it's great. Usually it's needed. So I don't mind those types of gifts, but really for Father's Day, I don't really want anything. I would much rather just, it's usually my brother-in-law, my father-in-law. We have a kind of a family dinner. My suggestion actually was one of our sponsors, Big Mamas and Papas, and get everyone together, all the nieces and the whole family, and just have a big, huge 36-inch pizza.
Go get a big one and see how long it takes you guys to crush it. The keyword to text if you want to be a part of the qualifying for the $100,000 hole-in-one presented by Golf Town, Xander. Xander, Xander, and it's in Xander Schauffele, who is your PGA Championship winner from this year. Xander, text that to 780-218-9999, and you will be one of you will be selected to be the qualifier in the draw tomorrow to be one of the contestants for the hole-in-one contest with a possible chance to swing for $100,000. Let's continue on here with two guys and a goalie presented by GS Construction. Let's get to Hire It or Fire It, brought to you by GS Construction, who are hiring now. Become part of their great team today, visiting gsconstruction.ca, their page on indeed.ca. For the past 50 years, the foundation of GS Construction has been built on efficiency, quality, and safety. Take your career to the next level. Join the team at GS Construction. I didn't send you guys anything for this one. It took me a while to write them out. So you guys are getting this. Do you have your hand up? Your mic's muted. Do we got you?
Uh-oh.
What's going on with Cass's stuff?
Jeez.
He's confused too, so it's not even a mute button.
I have to say, GS Construction, for their 50th, big party Saturday. I can't make it. I'm doing a bingo. So sorry, Turan, I can't make it.
Well, my invite was lost in the mail.
It was another. Okay.
Cass, we got you? Nope, we don't got
Nope.
you.
Am I good now?
Oh,
Yeah,
there we go.
there we go.
Yay!
Yeah, there he is.
What were you
I
going to
don't know
say?
what was going on. I wasn't muted. That was weird. I was going to say, on the topic of GS Construction,
Okay.
there's actually a GS Construction crew right outside my house right now.
Really?
And they look like they're having fun. Yeah, they are out there. I was going to snap a picture. I didn't have a chance to yet today. And actually, what I plan on doing, if I have the time, I hope I have the time, is I'm going to go run. And I'm going to grab a couple little snacks, and I'm probably going to go drop it off for him. And I'm going to be like, I know your boss, so be nice. Here's some snacks or something like that. So,
yeah. I know your boss is a tyrant. Here's some food.
He's a tyrant. Yeah. You know, that would be. I know your boss. You need something. Yeah. No, he's Turan Sandwith, who's an awesome guy. Gage, I know you guys are good buddies, and I love Sandy. But they're out there. They're fixing one of the water lines outside my house. So I can't flush a toilet right now, but they tell me they'll have all that stuff fixed up for me right away, which is awesome. So they're on the job. GS Construction.
As I come to work on 104 during the LRT construction, all I see is the GS Construction. There's stuff doing all that stuff there too. So they're all over the place.
GS Construction. It's
They're
like when
building Edmonton.
when you're looking for a new car and you go, I want that type of car, and then all of a sudden you see a billion types of the same type of car, just like GS Construction coming on board. Now they're everywhere.
It's a good way of doing it because, I was driving by that beforehand and I didn't really notice.
Didn't
but I was like,
notice.
oh, that's GS Construction. Look
And
at that.
It's funny because there's a subtle smile to my face, and in certain instances, when Sandy makes me angry, then I'm like, oh, GS Construction. But when he makes me happy, I'm like, oh, GS Construction.
Let's get to Hire It or Fire It. This series tied 2 games apiece. There have been ebbs and flows to this series, the ups and downs for both teams. So for the first few questions here, it's just kind of a look back at the 4 games in totality, combining them all. And I'll start with Oilers forwards have outplayed the Stars forwards. Hire it or fire it.
Oof.
And there's a trend to this if you notice it.
Yeah, I have to fire it. I think it's kind of, there's ebbs and flows. Like there's some points where Dallas's forwards are obviously better, but I think there's other points when the Oilers forward. I'm gonna fire it.
Gas?
I'm gonna hire it because I think if I look in aggregate through the first 4 games, when Dallas has had success and their forwards have had success, it hasn't been Edmonton's forwards that have been the primary driver of that failure. Now they've contributed to it, but I think it's been more other positions, which we'll get to. I am certain.
Yes.
with this. So I'm going to say hire it. I think the Oilers forwards have been better than Dallas's forwards so far in the series.
Yes, there is a complete trend to this one. So the next one is the Edmonton Oilers defense have outplayed the Stars defense. Hire it or fire it.
I'll go first with this one. I'm going to fire it. I think, the Dallas defense has been better than Edmonton's defense as a whole. Now, that could change with Tanev potentially not playing. We'll have to see. But as of right now, Dallas has been better.
Although I thought they were better last night, I would fire it too. I think for the most part, the Dallas Stars defense have been better. But like you had mentioned, Cass, this is a big question mark in their back end, and moving forward. It'd be interesting to see if he takes warm up or if Tanev is in the lineup. Because if that's the case, then it's dump and bump is the motto for next game and getting in on that Dallas D.
I'm going to switch some things around. We got a text in earlier, though, at the end of the hangout saying that it sounded like Tanev was in a walking boot at the airport. So we'll have to keep tabs on that one going up into the game tomorrow.
Yeah, that
doesn't read anything into that for you.
It doesn't read anything because it's like if you're going to have to be walking around, because going back to the States from Canada, you have to go through the regular airports. Like if when you're flying around in Canada or in the States, you don't have to go through like your customs like you do when you're flying from Canada to the US. You still have to go through the regular airport, go through the customs. You get on your private, the chartered flight through the gate at the regular airport. And it's like, okay, if you're not gonna be pushing the guy around in a wheelchair, and so if he's gonna be walking around, and if there's something wrong and you want it to recover as much as you can, you don't want the guy walking around using it. So yeah, you're gonna put a boot on it. So I don't read too much into that boot yet. Now I could be wrong, but let's just pump the brakes. The boot doesn't mean anything.
The higher fire question though will be, a potential Chris Tanev injury is a bigger blow to the Dallas Stars than them starting the series without Rupe Hintz. Hire it or fire it, Cass.
Ooh, hire it. As I said, I think the defense for the Dallas Stars has been better thus far. I mean, that's a massive blow. I think it's harder to replace. If I look at like next guy up, it's harder to replace that than Rupe Hintz, which. I mean, it's got to be a close thing, but I think Tanev is more impactful and has been just with the quality of play he's given the Dallas Stars throughout the playoffs. So, yeah.
Yeah, I got to hire it too. Looking on the opposite side, I would almost say like an Ekholm coming out, it would be more impactful. I mean, even to say Draisaitl at this point, like I would compare the two. Like I know it's a big gap, but what they can do defensively to take away goals is, I think, with both teams line up, they're able to generate offense even without those types of players.
This is Hired or Fired, presented by GS Construction. Number 4, Stuart Skinner has outplayed Jake Onger throughout the first 4 games of this series. Just for quick stats, save percentage-wise through the first 4 games, Stuart Skinner, 939, 917, 810, 909. His overall save percentage, 900. Jake Ottinger, 921, 966, 900, 857. Overall, 912. Do I start with the goalie here? I'll start with the goalie. Hired or fired?
Yeah,
Skinner has outplayed Ottinger in this series.
I'm going to fire it, but I think it's been equal. I think they've matched each other. Ottinger's played well in their wins. Skinner's played really well in their wins. Both have had, you'd like a save at certain times, definitely. This best of 3 is going to one of these goalies is going to have to steal something here for their team to win. It's going to be the most impactful position going forward.
Interesting take. Healthy take. I think I gotta fire it. I think Ottinger has been marginally better. Some of the quality of saves, he's been slightly better. Now, I say that wanting to be very careful to say that I don't think Stuart Skinner has been poor. I think he's actually been quite good. I think like the direction I cut into Ottinger last game on the post game show was that if Stuart Skinner gave up goals 3 and 4, like Ottinger did, people would have been losing their minds on Stuart Skinner being pulled and Pickard going in. They would have been absolutely freaking out because you got scored with a beautiful pass, trying to push across in a 2-on-1. And people are always like, oh, well, you need a save there. You got to make that save. You have to make that save. And then again on the Draisaitl where they're like, oh, you have to make that save. You have to make that save. You have to make on a guy that's a 50-goal scorer. So, yeah, I think it's actually been very, very close, very tight from a goaltending standpoint. I would say just with some of the quality of saves, Ottinger may be slightly ahead. So I will fire it, but it's a close thing.
Well, that's like as I throw out the save percentage, 912, 900, right there, it looks like that should be a clear Jake Ottinger, but it's not that. If you watch the games, and you watch this series, it's extremely tight. Then I almost thought one of you were going to hire it and take Stuart Skinner in this one, because I think of how well Stuart Skinner has played. And overall, he let in the bad goal. That's kind of the thing that we're looking at of game 3. It was a singular goal, though. Right? Like, we don't look at any of the other goals he let in and pointing out that those were just brutal goals. There was one in a bad moment, but in that game was making some brilliant saves. And look, the Stars blew a 2-0 lead yesterday. Jake Ottinger didn't make those saves there. When the Stars went up 3-2 in game 3, they allowed the goal to make it 3-3, to put the Oilers back in and give them a chance after everything was collapsing in the second period to be tied going into that third period. So it's been a very good, healthy battle, I think, in net between the two. And look, I think people going into this series were easily going to take Jake Ottinger as, if you had to give an edge to somewhere, it was the Stars with Ottinger.
But why?
But
I don't understand why.
Because in the playoffs, even this year, he has been really good in the playoffs. Last year, he was not there. And through the regular season, it hadn't been there. And people are, to your point that you said before this series, they're focused too much on the 7-game series against the Flames.
Yeah.
But he's been good these playoffs.
He's been really good. I mean, they're both really good. Like the saves he makes look really routine, are very tough saves. But Stuart Skinner's doing the exact same thing.
And that's what I find great for the Oilers, that you're putting them in the same category now. We're putting those two in the same category through a conference finals, that by the slightest of edge from the two of you, you say the Stars maybe are getting better goaltending than the Oilers, which is
slightest of
right. Like that's the thing, like the slightest of edges. You were saying maybe the Stars have a little bit of an advantage, and that's like considering where we were last series, considering what we're discussing about last series.
Yeah,
what a bounce back from Stuart Skinner.
Well, but I never freaked out like you guys and like so many people did. That's why people are just like, oh, you're just a Skinner president of the Skinner fan club, and this and that. Like,
you weren't worried because of what you saw last year?
No.
Okay.
I wasn't worried with what I saw this year, even in Vancouver from Stuart Skinner.
But
now
that's why I was worried in Vancouver.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't worried with him coming back in and all the people that were just like, oh, you have to play Pickard in Game 6 and Game 7. And
Chris Knoblauch was slightly worried because he made a change.
Yeah, but
kidding.
Putting him back in,
yeah.
it was the right decision, sure. And it was the right decision to take him out, and it was the right decision to put him back in. But he's your guy, he's your starter, he's your number one. And did you need to pull him back just for a minute? Yeah, for sure. But yeah, it was the right decision.
You could say, well, CK knows the proper timing of when to take someone out to give them that reset, right? It's never, you're done, we can't trust you anymore. It's reset, and we're going to put you back in at a crucial time when we need you.
Not CK. He's a K, Chris.
Was it a cake? It's KK?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
It's KK.
I thought it was C.
Hired or fired, last one. The Campbell Trophy will be in Rogers Place on Sunday. It'll also be awarded on Sunday. So basically, if you're hiring it, you're saying whoever wins tomorrow is going to win this series. If you're firing it, you think that it's going to be a split over the next two, and we are seeing 7. So hired or fired, the Campbell Trophy will be awarded Sunday at Rogers Place. Cass.
Fired. I think it goes 7.
I'm going to hire it. I think it's awarded Sunday.
Do you want to go with who?
I already said I thought it would be Dallas.
Okay.
But I don't hope it will.
Well, here's the thing about the Stars this playoffs is they're beatable on the road. They've actually been a lot stronger. Or they're beatable at home. Yeah. They're a lot stronger on the road.
That's why I say this.
Tomorrow's going to be crucial, because if the Stars get that, if the Oilers could get that, they could come home and finish this off, and I think they would.
These teams are so good, and even if I would have said even if the Oilers lost yesterday, I would have still said there's a really good possibility that this series goes 7. But it's very hard to beat these teams 2 games in a row. Even, or 3 games.
3 I would have thought would have been just too much to overcome.
But I thought the Oilers could win 2 in a row.
Yes.
But to beat them 3 times in a row would be quite difficult. So
The Leafs beat the Bruins 2 games in a row to force a Game 7 and got to overtime.
yeah,
The Oilers have it in them to go
Yeah.
take the Stars to that. That was Hired or Fire, brought to you by GS Construction. This is 2 guys and a goalie, a 2 Matts and a goalie edition. Joaquin, Gage, Matt Kassian, Matt Iwanyk. You 2 are stuck with me all next week as well because Dusty's gone next week. So get used to this, I guess, if you will. Let's get into Big Mama's and Papa's Pizzeria, bigger and hotter headlines, which is brought to you by Big Mama and Papa Pizzeria, BMPP, a real pizzeria restaurant, not just a delivery pizza chain, serving authentic Italian cuisine with their made-in-house pizza dough, traditional tomato sauce, and fresh toppings. Each pizza cooked to perfection. A pizza experience you've been waiting for. Visit them, 128th Ave, 97th Street. Order today at bmpp.ca or call 587-746-0550. I don't know if you guys saw that Ryan Smith was the owner of the Utah hockey team, was on with Pat McAfee yesterday, throwing out some names. They're down to a final 4 apparently for names for the Utah team. Sounds like the top 2 are Mammoth or Yeti. What would you?
I'm a fan of the Yeti.
Yeah, I like Yeti too.
Yeti. Oh, from the beginning, I like the Yeti. Yeah, it's. I actually tried to get my daughter's softball team to be called the Yodeling Yetis because they got white jerseys, and so they voted me down. I think they're the White Wolves or something. But I love the Yetis name. I think that's a great name. And in Utah, you got the mountains. Like it kind of fits. It's a cool name. You can have a great mascot for kids.
Fits for hockey.
You can have a cool logo. It's for hockey. Like to me, it's great. It'd be a great name. I'm totally a fan of that. I hope that's what it is.
yeah.
Fan? Mammoth, Yeti, or the Field? What are you taking?
I kind of like Mammoth, but it's a 2-man mascot, right? You got to go 2 guys. That's too much.
What, for the Mammoth?
Yeah.
I don't. Well, it's the Colorado Mammoth. I don't know what they do for
the
a
naming
mascot.
would be easy. It'd be Willie. Called Willie.
Yeah. But I like Yeti because he's kind of like Sasquatch, right? You're not
Colorado
supposed to-
Mammoth only have 1 person in their costume.
Oh, do they? That's just not as menacing. You need 2.
Yeah, he looks too happy and
You're
too
way
joyous.
too
You can't
happy.
see it, but
Yeah.
Google
Doesn't he know
Colorado
he's-
Mammoth mascot, and that doesn't look scary at all.
No. The Yeti
Looks like
can
almost
be
just an elephant.
He's an anti gritty kind of. Hopefully not as goofy looking, but yeah, I'll go Yeti. I think that's good.
Well, you got the Yeti Cup in front of you too, so.
Ooh, yeah, exactly.
It's like there's the perfect sponsorship for Utah too. They can get a nice
my
sponsorship
gosh.
deal with the Yetis,
Giving away Yetis.
just like the Kraken had it with the Kraken alcohol.
Oh, right.
Maybe that's what they're looking at. Yetis is a strong one, and
Do we have barrels of oil at our games? They could probably go for a pretty penny. Surprised they don't have them. I guess that's the beer. It's the same price of oil.
yeah, so we'll see what comes out of that. I'm intrigued though. Like, it sounds like they are going to have a name. They won't have jerseys, I don't think, for next year. I think that's what's being discussed, and like it'll just be Utah on it.
Is it going to be
don't
the
have it.
Fanatics stuff that's ripping apart in the
That's the
Major League
NHL deal.
Jesus.
The Fanatics, isn't that coming in? Tommy
Yeah.
just walked out, so he's the guy that fully knows
Yeah.
that. It's great. MLB players loved it. Everyone's loving it.
Yeah.
We're all going the Fanatics way, and you will appreciate your overlords of the merchandise.
I
Gager.
love how you could see the pockets in the pants. It's just hilarious.
Eastern Conference Final, Game 5 tonight. You got Rangers, you got Panthers. How do you guys think tonight's going to play out? By the way, threw this out in the Hangout. When the Rangers have won, the Stars have won the next night. When the Panthers have won, the Oilers have won the next night. So kind of a pattern going here. Cass, based on what you've seen in this series, what are you looking for in this series, in this game tonight?
Yeah, well, I'm not really stitious, so I'm not worried about that pattern. I don't think there's any true correlation between the two. I think New York wins it. I think this one goes to 7-2. I think both series go to Game 7. I think we just kind of keep with the back and forth, where if New York cannot have any sags, they'll be okay. They'll win this one. It'll be tight again. Fun series, great series. So yeah, I'm going with the Rangers for tonight.
I gotta go Florida. I don't understand how they're. I mean, the Rangers D is really good, but I think they've had the better part of the play in the offensive zone. They've done amazing. I'm surprised that they haven't run away with this yet. I'm gonna go Florida tonight.
Now, this series is all close too. Well, just like
It's
other
close.
Stars too. Like, these are games where, like, if we have overtime again tonight, are any of us shocked?
No.
If this comes down to, last 2 minutes, the game-winning goal scored, is anyone really shocked? It's just been entertaining as hell, and this is the best thing for hockey too, because both these series, if they go 7, you've got the attention of the primetime sports audience for a few days here because Celtics took care of the Pacers. It was a quick series. There were some really good games, but a quick series. We all knew the Celtics were going to move on. We'll see what the Timberwolves could do tonight against the Mavs and see if they can force a Game 6, but it's looking like the Mavs will go. And the NBA Conference Finals have been just kind of whereas the NHL have been unbelievable. And from a business perspective, if this is what you are showcasing America, what more could you ask for?
There's not the true juggernaut. We're actually seeing, I think, the best 4 teams in hockey right now. Like you can't tell me any of these teams couldn't win the Stanley Cup right now. It's highly competitive.
Yep.
It's one of those where this is the parity that you want if you're Gary Bettman.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily need parity 1 through 20. To me, you need it as like 1 through 8 when you get to the final little bit because this is when you want to sell the game. Yeah. And as long as all those teams have a chance, that's what you want to sell because this is when you get your best hockey.
Yeah.
Before we just wrap up with a few more final thoughts on Oilers and Stars Game 5, do want to qualify somebody for the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival, July 12th through the 14th, Kingsman Park. Andrew Schultz, Shane Gillett on the Sold Out Friday show, Kevin Hart on the Saturday, Sunday, Burt Kreischer, Whitney Cummings, Alley Cat, the official beer of the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival here in Edmonton. The Alley Cat 6 o'clock or lager and the EST 6 o'clock or lager will be there. The first big featured event for the 6 o'clock or lager. We want to qualify someone for the VIP table for 4 for the Saturday Kevin Hart show. All you have to do is get your phone out, text 780-218-9999. The tour Kevin Hart's on is Acting My Age. So text us, Acting My Age, to 780-218-9999, and you'll go into a draw to be potentially the winner of this VIP table for 4 to see Kevin Hart July 13th. We're giving that away on June 14th. So qualifying the rest of this week, qualifying for 2 more weeks, and then we'll give that away on the morning show on the 14th. You're in on the morning show tomorrow. You ready?
You betcha. Yeah, Eric's putting together me a list of things to do.
Okay. Do you guys care to do a prediction for tomorrow's game? Too soon for you guys?
Well, Gager thinks Dallas wins 8-0, clearly, because he thinks Dallas has to win. I think Edmonton wins. I think we get a back-to-back Edmonton win here on the road. I think Tanev either plays really banged up or doesn't play at all, and that's a little extra juice for the Edmonton Oilers. I think the Oilers win 4-2 with an empty netter. Tight one.
He means the Oilers. That means he thinks the Oilers lose on Sunday.
Yeah, exactly. So, God, it's so.
Well, I still think the Oilers win the series in 7. So and I've said that from the beginning.
Yeah, I don't want to flip. I did say Stars in 6.
I thought maybe take the chance here. You're also not going to go to games anymore.
This is, I got to wear leather. There's so many things I have to do for the Oilers to win.
Did you hear this? He was being ripped for not wearing the leather jacket at the Oiler game?
It's at the game, and some guy yells at me saying, "Where's your leather jacket?" Like, I can't even go out.
He's got a point.
So was it Cass yelling at you?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was a relative. No, I think, well, if
it was your wife.
I put it over you, Gager.
If Tanev's out, that's a huge hole. If Tanev is done, the Oilers are going to win this series.
That's it's a huge impact to wherever this fully goes. Imagine if the Oilers all of a sudden
if they lost Ekholm,
or changes a lot. So we'll see what happens. And
what do you think, Matty?
I don't do predictions.
So. What do you think?
One team's going to win the game and one team's going to lose it, and we're going to be getting set for Game 6.
Asked me that the other day. Like, what do you think's going to happen? I was like, well, one team's probably going to score more goals than the other, and they will win. That's my prediction.
You want to know something? I'm going to take that a little step further and not go probably. One team will score more goals than the other team and win that hockey game.
There we go.
There you go.
There's me.
Great.
There's the hot take right there. I love that I ask others to do predictions, but then I won't do it. It's wonderful. And you guys all just give me the predictions, and it's great. That's it. That'll wrap up Two Guys today, presented by GS Construction. Cass, good job. Enjoy the night, and we'll catch up with you on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pre- and post-game shows tomorrow. You, Tommy, and YTT, 5 o'clock right here. Gager, we'll see you on the morning show tomorrow, but it's good talking with you guys today.
Thanks for having me, Matty.
Thanks, boys. Hey, if you get a chance, make sure you check out the Moose Jaw Warriors playing tonight in the semifinal at the Memorial Cup. cheer for that Western team.
Yeah.
Western boys. There's some local kids on that team, so let's see them do something.
That's live on TSN. On behalf of Cass, Gage, I'm Matt. Thanks for tuning in to the Two Guys and a Goalie, presented by GS Construction. Up next on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Tune in to iHeartRadio. It is a Nielsen Show replay. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday night. We'll chat with you tomorrow.